What's happening, legends? Welcome back to the Becoming Reborn podcast. Now, Patrick,
Yes. Hello.
D-Wags, what the hell are we here doing?
Well, Travis, there's a interesting and exciting little milestone coming up. Today, is it when this podcast gets announced?
It'll be the day after.
It'll be the day after.
Or
Guys,
yesterday. When you guys listen to this, if you listen on Friday, it'll be the Thursday before.
guys, drum roll, please. 10 years sobriety for Travis Gregory Young. Little round of applause. Little one from you there, Wags.
Yeah.
So, D-Wags, welcome.
Hello, boys. First off, I just want to say I'm honoured to be included in this chat because I obviously know how special this milestone is for you, Travis. But I requested to kick things off today.
Did he?
I
granted it.
have a little question for you, Trav.
Hit me.
And it's a conversation that I've had in the past couple of days with some clients about making change.
Yeah.
And it's something that I got told maybe 12, 13 years ago when I first started in this industry, and it was about the reasons why people make change.
Yeah.
So 3 things need to be present for someone to make long-lasting and permanent change. And I think a 10-year milestone is evidence that these 3 things were present for you. So people change when they hurt enough so that they have to change. They learn enough so they're able to they want to change, and they receive enough so they're able to change. I want to know, you know, the answers to those questions, like how much were you hurting? What did you learn? And then what did you receive in order for you to actually make the necessary changes and get to 10 years?
All right. So the first one was learn.
Hurt.
Okay. So the hurt that I caused myself at that time, not knowing how many other people I hurt, by the way, but the hurt that I put myself through every single day, where I was pretending to be someone else that I wasn't. I was pretending to be happy when I wasn't happy. I was pretending that everything was okay when it wasn't okay. And that was like a part of the hurt, which was the vicious cycle. So the hurt, and then I learned from that pain was like, if I keep doing these same things and history keeps repeating itself, it's like the hurt is only going to continue and it's going to be a vicious cycle over and over and over again. And then the last one, what did I receive? I received really good parents for when I was growing up, that I knew that I had it within myself to get better. I received the type of upbringing that always nurtured the belief within myself, that I knew that no matter how bad things got, even if that flame did dwindle a little bit, it was always lit within myself, that I knew that I could always get myself out of those problems because of the belief that was instilled from me from my parents.
Yeah, nice.
So that's what I received.
Awesome.
Bang, bang, bang. Great answers. So, Trav, one thing we talk about pretty frequently these days is your level of self-awareness. I think it's a huge strength of yours, you being self-aware about, to be honest, mainly about your weaknesses, but you're also obviously aware about what you do well. You let us all know about it, and I agree with it significantly. Back then, you mentioned that you were often unaware of the other people that you were hurting. Was it a naivety? Was it a you were just self-absorbed? Why do you think there was very little self-awareness and then a lot?
It's funny that this is the first topic that we're talking about, because I actually had I had a phone call on my drive here. I was telling Chloe, and last year, my past came up more than that, that period in time, 2016 in particular, 2015, 2016 came up more last year than it has in the last 9 years, in particular because of AJ. And it really and AJ came out, told his story and how much I hurt him, but then it also led to Chloe telling me how much I hurt her. And I obviously knew that I hurt Chloe, but it was very surface level. And I called her to apologize because I'm about to go do a podcast about my 10 years of sobriety. And all those times that I would tell my story previously, I'd almost get celebrated because of, the milestones that I was hitting, or that I'd been sober for X amount of time, that had helped someone else, right? But at the same time, it also shone light on the pain that I caused her without her getting any of the acknowledgement that she deserves, right? And I never thought of that. And that sounds so selfish, and that's my ego. And during that time, Patty, my ego trumped all. Right. And I always knew I had an ego, but I would never keep it in check. And my awareness at that time was nothing else mattered except for me. I was so selfish, so self-absorbed. And the fact that I thought that even just the simple fact that I thought I was only hurting myself through that times is so selfish. And I think a lot of the pain that I've gone through and all the weaknesses that I had through that time have now became my strengths because I never want to be that person again. That's why I'm so self-aware now, because I had no self-awareness back then. You know, that's why I always try to keep my ego in check as best I can at times. But I'm much better at that than I was back then.
Even
But
2-3 years ago.
yeah, and it's like, it's obviously a constant learning curve, but the lack of self-awareness back then makes me sick. And it's one of the things that drives me now to make sure like I'm always looking within first. It's like minding your golden rules, like when anything goes wrong.
Look in the mirror
Look in the mirror first.
I think speaking about lack of self-awareness and then obviously selfishness, I think they often go hand in hand.
Yeah.
What sort of transition did you feel you had to make from that selfish and not self-aware person into the person you are now? Because I wonder, is remaining sober still kind of a selfish act, or is it driven by selflessness because of not wanting to hurt the people that you care about?
Great question.
Thank you very much.
Really
Thanks,
good
guys.
question.
Appreciate that.
Now,
It was off the dome.
Yeah, I know.
contradictingly, it is selfish. My sobriety is selfish, right? And you have to do it for yourself. You have to be selfish. Now, where the change came, and I had it previously, but not in this level. So what changed was the transition was when I started getting sober and I started helping people. Previously, before that, it was all about like the superficial help that I would help people. Then when I started helping people about like their sobriety and their lifestyle, it became like helping them with their mental health. Now, again, contradictingly, it filled my cup when I helped people, right?
But is that the worst thing in the world?
In that way,
Yeah.
right? Previously, before when I helped people like get bigger arms or, you know, get fast or whatever it might be, like that's
sweet.
You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. But when I change someone's life, when someone does something that is going to improve not only their life, but the people around them, that's when it started filling my cup, right? So it is selfish, but that's where it changed though. And as I progressively got further and further in my sobriety, watching more and more people react to my story and be able to make changes themselves actually help like fulfill myself. So then I kept doing it because of that. And that was the transition.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing doing it for selfish reasons if the net effect is so positive. Like we've spoken on this podcast often before about telling people to be selfish and look after their own well-being and health first, so that then you can be a better parent, a better husband, a better wife, a better worker. Like you need to focus on your exercise, your sleep, your nutrition selfishly so that you can then help. That's probably similar to you. Like if you helping people fills your cup and it's like, oh, that's a selfish thing. Sweet. You're making the world a better place.
It is kind of a bit of a interesting paradox to industry that we're in, because it's like
Great word.
we're constantly in the process of doing selfless good deeds, but like, is there such thing as a selfless good deed? Because what we get in return from those good deeds for others is that satisfaction of like, hey, that makes me feel really good when someone tells me, I really appreciate what you just did for me, or those kind words meant more than you could ever know, or that medal that you gave me last week completely changed the course of my year.
It gives us purpose.
Gives us purpose. Yeah. 100%.
Spoken about this the last few days, just with like 3 or 4 separate conversations with different people about what's the reason we got into this industry, to help people. That's great. But you're right, it fills our cup. Anyway, I want to take a little step back, Travis, to over 10 years ago. So prior to going to rehab, and anyone out there who's listening and has no idea what Travis's story is about, go back to previous episodes, generally episode 1, and strap yourself in. What was that time like?
Dark, and it was constant battles, constant drama, constant toxic environments. It was It was draining. It was all of the above, and it was just constantly this vicious cycle of like, you think you're gonna get yourself out of this hole if you just do X, Y, Z, and then you do X, Y, Z, and then you fuck it up with some other drama that you cause the next weekend, and then you try and cover that problem up, and then there's still the problems from 2-3 weekends ago, and it's just constant drama, Paddy, and it's just this dark place to be, and you can't see the end of the light. So it's this vicious cycle, and it relates to people that have an eating disorder too, where I have this problem from the weekend that I've caused from drinking, and I try and solve it all weekend, but I can't solve it, and it causes me more problems. So then I try and drink my way out of it, and then it only causes more problems. So the more problems it causes, then I drink again, and then you're constantly trying to escape the last problem without fixing any of the problems. And I remember my counselor smacking me between the eyes, and he was like, well, you've got one problem, and then drinking's another problem. You can't fix a problem with another problem. And I'm like, that makes heaps of sense. So it was dark, Paddy, and it's just this constant cycle over and over and over again. And you tell yourself these lies. It's the last time. I won't do this again. This is only just this weekend. It's just a one-off. Like, oh, that was an anomaly. That won't happen again. It's bullshit. You know that these things are going to keep happening. You know that there's not going to be any changes unless you are actually willing to put in consistent work and make the actual changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Tell me, what impact did it have on you mentally, telling yourself those lies and breaking promises to yourself?
Oh, the ones in that time I wouldn't have believed it. Like, I wouldn't have listened. Like, I wouldn't listen. That is my biggest problem. That was my biggest problem. I would not listen to myself. And even though I knew these things, and subconsciously, like, I was aware of these things, I wouldn't listen. But when I got to rehab and these things started, like, people started telling me, that's when it started really to hit home. And like, that's when you start to reflect on your actions. But it wasn't until then, when I was actually in rehab, was I able to reflect on, actually putting my ego in check.
So you've spoken before on the podcast about when you went off the rails and you hit your rock bottom, and then you made the decision to go to rehab. So again, if you want to listen to that story in depth, go back to episode 1. When you made the decision to go to rehab, what do you think is a big reason why you can have that self-reflection? Because there's obviously a lot of things that go into going to rehab. You're removing yourself from your social group and connections where a lot of the problems start. You're obviously taking away the drugs, the alcohol, the gambling. You're not able to access your phone. The focus is on exercise and opening up. Like, there's a lot of things that go into it and probably contribute. But what do you think is the main reason why you're then able to take a step back and judge your life from the outside looking in?
Okay, so to give the people that haven't heard my story a quick little recap of what Paddy's talking about. So in March 22nd, 23rd, I was going to commit suicide. Even wrote a goodbye letter to my son, Jet, who was 14 months at the time.
6-pack of Coronas.
On a 6-pack of Coronas, yeah. So it's just so classy.
It was Coronas, wasn't BB.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I blocked everyone on my phone. The only person that I actually didn't block, which I don't know why, because I blocked her all too often, which he reminds me about all the time, was Chloe, who we weren't together at the time. We were actually broken up. She got onto me and literally talked me off the edge. And then not even a week later, I was in rehab after my mum asked me if I wanted to go to rehab.
And she said the word shit. I still don't believe that.
Yeah, she said shit. She's adorable.
She never swears.
That was rock bottom.
That's what got you to
That
rehab.
was rock bottom. So
your mother swearing.
Oh, she's adorable. So that is like kind of the nutshell. There is a whole story backstory behind that. And then your question is about like, was I able to reflect, right? So when I got into rehab, right, that's when all the walls came down. And I no longer was pretending to be something I wasn't. You were right. Like, I'm out of the environment, of course, right? I'm in Thailand. I'm actually up in the mountains in the middle of fucking nowhere. But I'm around the people now that are all addicts as well. And respectively, like, at the start, I didn't put myself in their same shoe. Like, I didn't think that I needed to be there at the start. So
very common, right? That thought.
Huge. It hit me in the face when a guy came in and told his story, and he started his story off, and it was reasonably similar to not mine, but I judged him straight away. He had, you know, the tattoos on his face. He looked skinny, looked gaunt, looked like an actual junkie. You know what I mean? Like, he just didn't look like he was a healthy human being. And I just like, this guy's just another junkie. Then he told his story. And long story short, he's 12 years sober, but there was periods of his story where I was like, I can't relate. But then there was about 3 or 4 things in a row that I was like, fuck, that was me. That was me. I did that. I'm doing that. And then it continued on, and he got out of rehab, back into rehab. And I said to myself, if I don't stop right now, that's me. So once I reflected on what I'd done, saw where my future was going to be, that's when everything just made sense to me. And I let the walls down. I was able to communicate. Mind you, I was only able to communicate within those 4 walls at that time. It took me another year to actually come out to the public and tell them that I was sober and tell my story. But that's a whole other story in its own. But it was in that time when I was able to reflect, own my shit. Like, that's when it actually started. Because I remember when I was there, I'm like, I knew that I was a direct reflection of my own actions, and I knew that from the start. It wasn't like I had to get, you know, work through some things. I'm like, I got there and I was sitting in Thailand. I'm like, fuck.
That's all me.
It's all me.
So a lot of people go to rehab and speak to you prior to, and you end up, because you're so public with your story, helping a lot of people through a similar time in their life. And there's a lot of people where you've said rehab won't help them, or they're not ready for rehab. You mentioned you went there and your walls were immediately down.
Yeah.
People deciding to go to rehab, or, and this is what we speak about a bit, being forced to go to rehab by someone else, walls are up. Why does that not work?
Because you have to do it for yourself, no matter what. Actually, I was talking to someone about this the other day.
It was me. It was someone like, you can't do it for your kids. You have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
That's
That's like
the 3 of us were talking about it.
Yeah. No matter how much you love your kid, right, or your wife, or whoever it is that you're going, that your parents, it doesn't matter. You have to want it yourself. And I went there purely selfishly for myself. And I was like, if I want to be the best dad, I have to do this for me. If I want to be the best partner, I have to do this for me. If I want to be the best son, I have to do this for me. And I knew the difference between me and 90% of the people in rehab was that I was very aware of that, where a lot of them would blame mum and dad. I never blamed anyone. I never will. Like, it's my fault. At the end of the day, I made those decisions. I was an adult.
I guess it goes back to that, what we spoke about at the start. Like, you were obviously hurting enough, so you had to change. Like, there had to be a decision made.
Yeah.
I want to explore a little bit more about, you know, the concept of the walls coming down in rehab, right?
Yeah.
And feeling like it wasn't until you got there that happened. I want to know about, like, the environments you were surrounding yourself in, and I guess the people as well, because I guess for me, we share some similarities, you and I, Trav, in our own past, with, you know, removing ourselves from certain environments that weren't good for us. But for you, yours obviously took a step further and went to rehab to get yourself away from it. Why did you feel you had to keep the walls up while you were here in these environments, as opposed to going to rehab surrounded by other people much like yourself, and allowed your walls to come down there? Like, what's the difference in those 2 scenarios?
Because here, I wanted people to perceive me as successful. I wanted the perception of Travis Young to be this leader, this person that, you know, drank beers, played footy, ate steak, tough as nails. Or maybe not as tough as nails, but, you know, I was mentally tough, right? I wanted everyone to think that about me. I had too big of an ego to want anyone to think any different than that I was this tough guy, you know, and I had it all figured out. I was confident. I was, you know, everything I did was successful. I didn't want anyone to think anything but that.
Have you ever asked yourself, like, why you had that mentality? Like, where does that come from?
It's
We've dug down.
Yeah, it's like my competitive nature, right? And it's like, it's that always that want and willingness to win at all costs. And it just became my persona. And it became like what I did in, like, how I played football. I wanted to win at all costs. I always want to win every sport I played. And then that went into business. But then it was also like everything was win at all costs, right?
Who does that sound like?
Ace. Yeah, Ace, but it's my dad. Like we're all
Mm.
the same. Like we want to win. We
Yeah.
want, and I don't do anything half-ass, whether it's good, bad, or ugly.
It's a double-edged sword there.
Yeah.
And this is something that we've explored and opened up a lot on in the podcast is confidence. So many people these days lack this confidence, and which leads to not having the accountability and that it's all on me. But like the confidence can help in so many areas of your life. And to be honest, it's why we're here right now, because of your confidence. But that confidence leads to ego and pride. And it's why you were
Pride.
too proud to drop the walls when you were here before you went to rehab, right?
Yeah, and especially coming from the football culture, which is was a huge part of my life, right? It's like in the football culture, you never want to show weakness. You always want to show that that
Strength.
you
You've
what
got
you're
it all
doing.
covered.
Yeah.
So I've always actually wanted to ask this question. The brash young kid, pride, ego, arrogance, nailed everything he did. Then going to rehab, what was your biggest fear going to rehab?
People finding out that I went to rehab.
That was it.
That was it.
Well, that shows your pride, right?
Yeah, I didn't want people to know. And when like I'd put up I put up a few posts, and I used to like to think that people would believe this shit too. And I'll be like, oh, just like having a training camp in Thailand. I have to remember I told my cousin who was training, and I love her, by the way, Nick. Remember she used to travel from Liverpool?
Yeah.
God love her cotton socks.
Nicole
Young.
Young.
She used to travel from Liverpool and train with me just prior to when I went to rehab, and she was doing like 4 sessions a week. Like she was actually keeping the business afloat now. Look back.
Well done. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But I told her that I got asked, this is my ego. I got asked to be a PT over at a gym in Thailand and do their programming and some bullshit like that for 4 weeks for like a retreat or something. Like, why would, like, how did I think she was going to believe that? And that was just like, that was how far I was willing to take my pride, like to cover up my pride.
Wow. So went to rehab, and we've spoken about how that went in the 28 days, and then you came back. What was the hardest part about returning to society in those early stages of your sobriety?
Shit, there's a fair few things. The environment was the first thing that popped into my mind.
I was going to ask you a question on that too.
Yeah.
Like, what sort of changes did you make when you got back?
So we'll start there then. So environment was the hardest, right? I needed to get back into football. I needed to play. Not necessarily the sport, just I needed to be
Something.
competitive.
You needed an outlet,
something.
right?
Yeah, and I needed to be a part of something as well, because I felt very alone, very isolated. So being in that football culture was hard at times. But what I did instead was I would train every single day when I got back, even when I really, really didn't want to, but I just had to be active. That was my thing. On Friday and Saturday night or afternoon, I would always go and train, whether I played or not. Like, it was just my thing. And then as soon as we finished footy, I would just leave straight away. I wouldn't linger around, I wouldn't dip my toe in the water, so to speak. I would just jet straight away. And it was more at that time, it was probably more of a fear thing than anything. So I would change my environment in those sense, but also, like, let's use Grayson as an example, right? Grayson and I were best mates. He would train with me every Friday and Saturday. He would still go out and drink, but I would never associate myself with him during those times. I would only pick and choose my environments with him. So it was either at the cafe, or it was at the gym, or it was a restaurant, right? That was the only time that I would hang out with him. I'd never go to the pub with him. I'd never socialize with him outside of that. And that's how I just stuck to my environments like that. And it's what's worked for this whole 10 years. It's like we've spoken about it countless amount of times. It's not that it's not that I have great willpower. It's just that I don't test my willpower often. I don't put myself in those environments often to have to test it.
You recognize the triggers and then just eliminated the amount of times you actually could allow yourself to be triggered.
Yeah, so before you come out of rehab, they get you to fill out it's called, or like a rehab plan, so to speak, right? And you got your slippery behaviors, and then you've got your environments, right? And like you write down all your slippery behaviors and all the environments that you need to stay out of. And it's just like, it makes things black and white, right? That you wrote them down. It's like when you write a goal down, like you wrote it down, so you got to commit to it. So that was a part of like my environment that was a part of my plan, was to write down the environments that I'd stay out of, and I just stuck to it.
So there's a lot of people that might be listening to this that might have previously gone through a similar story to yours. They might be going through that right now. When you then came home and you're back in your old circles and your old environments, you've mentioned a couple of like habits or routines that you trained every day to stay active. Friday and Saturday night, when the danger times, or would have been previously for you, you and Grayson would train.
Yeah.
What other habits or routines did you implement the day you got back that helped? Because this could really help people, I think.
It was and I've done this since I got back. I previously did it like inconsistently at times. I was a very structured person. I've always been a structured person. Even when I was an addict, I used to have like a bender bag. I think I've spoke to you about it before, maybe not on the podcast.
Always ready to go.
Always ready to go. Organized. Very, very organized person. But the thing that helped me the most was I used to write down my to-do list for the week, every single week, and I'd write down what I was going to achieve for the week. And back then, bro, it was like wake up at a certain time. It was probably like 7 a.m., like, to be honest. And then it would be like train straight away. And then it would be like 2 PTs for the whole day. It was very minimal. But like I'd write down, eat lunch, like just whatever I can to fill in the space to keep me occupied. But that structure straight away, and like kind of, like, it sounds silly, but like getting the endorphins from ticking things off, as simple as like, it might have been a 15-minute walk. I remember I first started running and I was doing like 3K runs, and I thought I was flying and doing, I thought I was pretty much David Goggins, and I was doing like 3Ks max. But like just having the structure straight away is something that I always did inconsistently, but then when I started doing consistently, that was like probably the biggest thing that I didn't realize it at the time was so influential on my recovery.
And you touched on a point slightly there that I want to delve more into. You didn't have much on this list, so it was relatively,
I can still remember it,
easy for you to tick things off, because I can imagine the temptation for a lot of people coming back. They've gone through this big epiphany while they're in rehab. All right, I'm going to get my life back on track. I'm going to do this. 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 And like we say with like New Year's resolutions, right? They set their goals way too high, or they try and do 15 things at once because they're all going to benefit their life. Whereas you stripped it right down and went real simple.
And do you know what? One of the biggest factors for people relapsing, or for addicts even being addicts, it's because they react to boredom. So whenever you're bored, that often that's when they would go and make bad decisions. You know, a lot of gamblers, I was bored, so I just went and gambled. You know, I was bored. Like that is actually a huge reason why people.
Seems so simple.
It's so simple. Yeah. I remember like learning like there's this thing called HALT. It was like, if you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, they're the times where you're more likely to be triggered. And I still reflect on that. Yeah,
it really is.
And I still remember it from back then. And I'm like, oh, I must be hungry. And I'm like, that's a kind of strange one for an addict. But then I'm like, actually, that would make sense in terms of my gambling. Like when I was hungry, I'd actually go gamble, because you'd be like, oh, I'm going to go get a chicken cini from the pub. Hey, got a chicken cini at the pub, by the way.
Hold on.
But yeah, that was like the biggest thing was my structure.
Trav, I'd love to know, in this 10-year timeline, and I guess I'm kind of like opening it up to any time within that period now.
Yeah.
Than when you first got back. What's been the most challenging period in that time?
I was going to ask that question.
If any, where you felt like potential relapse?
Yeah. When did you know it cracked?
Or is it all worth it? You know, like, my life's boring, like all those thoughts. Like, has there been a period, and if so, when was it and why was it hard?
I'm going to sound so arrogant.
I know what you're going to say.
Never. But not close.
Yeah.
No, I know. Like, I'm proud of that. Like, I've never, not once, never have I been close. I've had some really dark times, really hard times, but there's never been that thought, even for nothing, where I'm being like, oh, I'd love a bag right now. I'd love a beer right now. Oh, I wish I could go play the pokies right now. Like, there's never been that moment, because what happens is people get put in difficult situations as addicts, and then they're like, they kind of go, well, fuck it. I'm here now, right? in all those times, I've never ever once gone, I know what's going to solve this, because I know it doesn't.
Can I just jump in?
Yeah.
I want to know, again, as just like more questions are popping in, the more stuff you say, is that, because I think about you saying never when you said,
I'll tell the story.
I knew you were going to say never then, but I want to know what's driving that. Is it the fear of failing or your pride and ego taking a hit of relapsing, or is it the recognition of the value that you now have in your life without all that stuff? Like what's the more powerful driver out of those two?
I reckon that shifted.
Yeah, at the start it was fear. It was definitely fear of going, like the hurt that I was going through, bro, it was such a powerful driver. Like I still get this sick feeling. Like if there's any addicts out there or anyone that's gone through drug, alcohol, gambling, if you talk about it, it still makes me feel sick, right? Instantly, right? There's like that glimmer of like, oh, remember that? Then it's like, oh, straight away. But for me, like it's never been an issue because of that fear. But I think now it's like Paddy said, I think it's transitioned. And now it's like almost like my pride and ego is always going to be there, right? I think that's inevitable. My pride and ego is going to drive a lot of things that I do. And that now there is that pride and ego of what I've accomplished, but then also like what it's done for other people. I remember hearing this story. Same guy that I told about at the start, that I met in rehab, that went to rehab for over 12 years. Yeah. One of the reasons why he relapsed was, so you're meant to get a sponsor, right? He had a sponsor and he had a sponsor for 3 years. He was out one day and ran into his sponsor, and his sponsor was having a beer. And he saw his sponsor having a beer and he was like, well, bro, what are you doing? He's like, oh, like it's just such and such, whatever it is, whatever it might be. And he's like, oh, that's strange. 2 weeks later, he relapsed because he looked at someone that he idolized, and they failed. So then they gave him not the permission, but almost like
gave him an out.
It gave him an out, right? I know for me that there is people out there that would be looking at me as the inspiration, and if I crack and I failed. I could see that influencing other people, and that's another driver in a really positive way, by the way. I don't feel pressure or anything like that, but I want to kind of come back real quickly to why I say never and so confidently is because Paddy was there, and we've told this story, and Paddy didn't know I was sober. We just won the grand final, 2016 for Guyme. It's actually 10 years this year as well, obviously. We just won the grand final back at the. And it was the first time I come back with the boys. We're back at the presentation.
Won all 3 comps, by the way.
Yeah,
well done.
We did.
Unheard of.
Yeah, we went on to win the next year as well, undefeated. But anyways, so 2016 at the presentation, just won. I'm 9 months sober-ish, around there, 8 to 9 months. And no one knows that I'm sober. They just think that I'm not drinking for the rest of the year. I've said that to a handful of people. I put it up as a post in June saying I'm not drinking for the rest of the year. That's as far as it's gone. Mitchell Wynn, who was probably the closest to within the team, he knew that I wasn't drinking. He probably knew that, like, at a deeper level, because I was training him as well at Reborn as well.
I still cringe thinking in this moment.
Yeah, right. So Graham wins up on the stage, my coach, and he's like, all right, guys, so now we're going to announce who got man of the match. And everyone's, hey, here we go. And they go, he goes, all right, I was speaking to Johnny, and Johnny said, our number one, our fullback, he was the best player. He's going to come up here, and he's going to scull a drink for being man of the match. And he gets him up. The guy sculls a beer. Then he goes, all right, next up, I was actually speaking to Paulie, and he doesn't think that number one was the best player. He thinks number two was the best player, and he starts rattling off whoever number two was. And he starts talking about it, and then I'm like, oh, shit. I see where this is going.
We're going through the whole team
number 4 on my back, right? So there's only 2 more people to go. And he goes, all right, number 2. And he's like, all right, number 3, that was Grant Davies. He's been the best player that's what Sally said, blah, blah. So he got up, and then he sculled a beer. And I'm sitting there and I'm fucking sweating.
I took my time sculling my beer, by the way, just because I knew Trav was going through this. So I was like, I'll give him a bit more time.
What were you? 2?
2.
And Pat was there. Pat was one of the people. So I remember Grant Moore being behind me. Scary.
Yeah.
And he's like, and I'm like, I'm not drinking, boys. I'm not fucking drinking. And Grant Moore's like, we just want to comp. You get up there and you drink.
And and that line there, like, I'm not a big drinker, right? And I remember finishing mine, coming over, seeing this commotion, right, and thinking,
I was pushing, like literally walking backwards. Like I'm like,
and
I'm not
at the
fucking
time,
drinking.
I just remember going like, all right, you don't like a beer, mate. Suck it up. Like this is the footy culture, right? Of like,
yeah, bro.
what's wrong with
I'm
him?
sweating
Why are
thinking
you
about
not?
it.
Why are you not just drinking a beer? Like, what's wrong with you?
Oh, so
There's a lot to be said about that culture. Right?
Yeah, it really is.
So I'm like,
but I was blinded at the time.
I'm not fucking drinking, right? And everyone's like, get up there and fucking drink. And I'm like, I'm not. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to punch my way out of this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not fucking drinking. There's
It was very close.
I'm not fucking drinking. No way, right? Graham Wynn starts rattling off. Travis Young, blah blah blah. He did use our center, such and such. And then
I grade that game, by the way. Hold on.
I don't think I did much, but anyways, as he's like calling out to me, I'm arguing with the boys, and I can see them all. I see Mitch Wynn turn around, and he's got 2 cups in his hand, and one of them's got a beer, the other one's a glass of water, a cup of water, plastic cup of water.
Yeah, plastic schooner of water.
And I saw the water. I saw Mitch. I could have cried, bro, because I was like, fuck, okay, here's my way out. Perfect. Save face. I got booed. I sculled a glass of water and got booed, chucked the cup in the air, walked off. I was like, fuck, I don't give a fuck.
Got out of it.
But that
was the
9
closest,
months,
huh?
9 months sober. No one knows I'm sober. In my culture, this is footy's my thing.
Yeah.
I got all the boys
And footy's
around
your
me.
dad's thing and your brother's thing.
Yeah,
That's
and
your
they're going to
life.
me, drink. And I'm like, fuck, I ain't drink. That's never.
Wow.
Never. Like, it was never a thing. Like, I remember standing there and just being like, this is like one of those moments.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not happening.
You were ready to fight Grant Moore, and you know how much I back you, Trav. Look, I'm going to be honest. That would have been a tough fight.
That's a tough
I've seen him throw hands on the football field, Travis, and you may have lost that.
just straight and just full.
Yeah.
He's a country boy.
Yeah.
But that one story will answer. Like, I went through heaps more tougher times in terms of, heartbreak and pain points throughout my 10 years. But there's no other environment I've ever been in where there's been that much peer pressure. And if I don't crack there, I'm not going to crack.
Yeah.
Now tell me, 12 months earlier.
Oh my God, I'm yelling at me.
Yeah.
I'll be shoving the beer down my throat and I rack up my nose at the same time.
Yeah.
I actually have done that to one of the boys.
You're on. All right. Probably don't need to go into that, but like you were part of that culture that's like, have a beer, pussy.
Bro, I'm leading the charge.
Yeah.
Like I am the
And you're
party.
off that bloke.
I hate him. Hate his guts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to I had to change my identity.
Because that's the hard thing there, right? When you came back, you've spoken about how your circle changed and the people that you hung around with, you're not hanging around them anymore. And even you spoke about your best mate, you're hanging around him only in specific areas.
Yeah.
But you also understood how important football was for your life. So you were back in that environment because like probably one of the counselors, like, suggestions would have been, well, footy's a bad environment, stay out of that environment.
Yeah.
You put yourself back in that environment and then had to play with the devil a little bit.
It was
Risky
like,
move.
Yeah, it was, man.
Travi, I've got a question about obviously the anniversary next week, and I know that your kids are still quite young, but have you had conversations with them or thought about how you would have those conversations about what their dad was like, and then potentially, I guess your kids are involved in sport and in this culture we're talking about, and they're going to grow up and they're going to be around that culture. Like, what are your thoughts around the conversations to have with them about decisions they can make for themselves?
Yeah, I'm going to let those conversations happen quite organically because they already have started. So last year when I was 9 years sober, Chloe had a big balloon that was 9 in the living room when I got home. So they were like, "That's not 9."
Like, behaves like it
good
sometimes.
instincts.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what? She's bloody right. I'm not 9. So we started those conversations last year, and I'm going to let those conversations naturally happen. And my way to parent through this is I'm always just going to lead by action. I'm going to guide them. I can never tell them what to do. If I try to tell my kids you can't drink, you shouldn't drink, and tell them like all the things that they should and shouldn't do,
What's going to happen?
I know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
What would you have done when you got told not to do something?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You told me not to do something. I'm still like that now.
Yeah.
You told me I can't do something, or I shouldn't do something. Guess what I'm going to go do?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to have to educate them the best they can. They're going to have to make their mistakes themselves. They're going to probably go through some of these hard times. Like if Ace has the same personality as me. He has every opportunity to go down that same path. I've just got to do the best I can to make sure that I guide him the best way that I can and have those conversations. I'm very honest with the boys, and I will be with Miami as well. She's too young to have those conversations, but when they have asked about it, like I told them about it, and I said, look, I don't drink anymore, but what I take great pride in now is like none of my kids have ever seen me drink. You know, Jet was like 14 months when I got sober. Like, sorry, he would have seen me drink, but he wouldn't remember it. Ace has never seen me drink. Miami will never see me drink. And the other day, we were doing these 20 questions to our kids, and one of the things was to Chloe, what do you wish mum did less? And Ace said, I wish mum wouldn't drink as much wine. And I've seen Chloe drunk once.
She doesn't drink much.
Once since I've been sober. Like, once we're back together. Once she's been since I've been sober.
Yeah, wow.
Ace would have seen her. I don't think he would never have seen her drunk, but I don't think he's seen her have a wine at home even, like other than when you guys have been around. Like, but yes, he said, I wish you wouldn't drink as much wine.
Yeah, wow.
So he's already he's made a decision in his mind that wine and beer and everything like that is not the right thing.
Yeah, wow.
But I again,
you're not pushing that. Yeah.
I'm not. I'm leading by my actions. I'm not telling him.
Yeah,
I just do what I do.
Yeah.
Tell me, what about with Jet? Because obviously Jet and Ace are two very different kids. One of them is going to do what you tell him not to do. Jet maybe a bit more compliant. Like, how do you approach it with Jet? You're older.
Well, it's very similar to like how you would probably approach with Cooper. I see Jet as very compliant. Like, he'll just do as I do, right? And he's a very just like simple kid. He doesn't want to push the boundaries. Like, he'll stay well within the boundaries, whereas like Ace will, as you know, will tiptoe the boundaries to cross it. Jet, you give him the guidelines and the boundaries, like he's staying within them. But I do think Jet's going to surprise me when I'm older. I think he's got a little bit in him, which I like. But again, like coming back to like, there's only so much that you can do as a parent. You can only control your own actions. Your kids are going to make mistakes. Like, I'm the perfect example of like my parents gave me a great upbringing. I made those decisions on my own. Why? I don't know.
And you kind of want your kids to make mistakes in that sense, because you know that they're going to learn from that a hell of a lot more than they're going to learn from hearing about yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, obviously to an extent, but like it's funny, just before we went live, I was telling Wags how I went to take the kids for a bike ride, and I left a bit later because I had to pump my tires up, and I said, you guys just start and I'll catch up to you. And they got lost. And I was like relatively encouraging of that, because provided they're safe, of course, but it's like, I want them to be able to deal with stress when they come, if they've never been in a situation like that and they become an adult and they've never had to deal with stress or fear or anything like that. What are they going to do? They're going to shit themselves. They were 500 minutes from home. Like, they made a little error and they had to figure out what to do. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Now let's bring this back, Travis, to Reborn.
Yep.
You went to rehab, you came back, and then you decided to build a new gym called Reborn. When you got back and started it, what was the vision for Reborn? And then second part, once you've told me that, is what's the vision now?
Yeah, the vision, bro, was just to have it. I remember I just wanted to do a little PT studio where it's just me running a handful of group classes, doing my PTs, and just like being able to survive.
So the big dream, it didn't have the big dream.
Nah, bro. Like,
crazy.
I wanted it, and I was like, but I knew that I couldn't focus on trying to build this empire while I was.
You'd trip over the molehill in front of you, right?
I was still trying to figure out like how to get through the next day. So I remember the vision at the start was just like, I'm just gonna make this like a really cool little PT show, like very boutique-y. It wasn't the dream for Reborn didn't really happen until like December 2016 when we signed the lease for Kawara, and then I was like, all right, this has got some legs, and then I started dreaming a little bit bigger. But now the dream is like to have 10 Reborns up and down the east coast of Australia, and each one of them to be the best, no matter what area they're in, they are the best, and they genuinely change people's lives every single day. And the people that run them, they're in it for the right reasons. They want to be a part of something that's bigger than themselves.
So tell me, from the sounds of that, this is less about building an enormous empire and more about, I want to use a different term here, but like brand strength. So like instead of being the biggest, you're wanting to be the best, so that every instance of Reborn like has a certain bar that it's above.
It's ego as well, right? We want to be the best, right? We want us to be seen as the best, but we also want to make the most impact. And like it's legacy. And it's legacy for what we've created, you and I. It's also legacy for what we will create, and it's legacy for our kids, like all of our kids. We want us to be a part of something, and then our kids to be a part of that as well. And like genuinely making a difference in the world, not just kind of paying bills and ticking boxes. Like we want to make difference. We want to make a difference in people's lives.
Where does that come from?
My mum, I reckon. Honestly, I don't know like why. I think because my mum's got a beautiful heart. So I think that the ego comes from dad. I know that. We know Phil gave it, but I think that kind of like wanting to help people and that you know that want to be, you know, better, like make someone's life better. That comes from my mum, and then having that kind of, my mum was always trying to make everyone else. I think all of our mums would be the same like this. I've heard about you, all your mums and how they treated you. It's the same as my mum. It's like they put everyone else in front of them before themselves. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
Tell me, how did your past shape the current culture of Reborn?
Oh, like it's changed. Our culture's changed a fair bit over the last probably 3 or 4 years, but I think what it's done is created that kind of no matter what, you can always get out of it kind of mentality. Like everyone's had their tough times, you know. Like you've lived a very vanilla life, so but me and Wags can kind of relate on this. Like there's tough times in everyone's life, but what the Reborn culture is like no matter how tough things get, like you can always get out of it. There's that mentality of like get up, keep going forward, be consistent in what you're doing, and eventually it'll work itself out. I think that's like the culture that we've developed here now, and that's where like Reborn, my story has kind of gone in, and then you see that with the, you know, the people that are sober now as well. Like we're going to get Mickey Moz on in a couple of weeks. He's 4 years sober. Him and Daniel Tyson Jones are close because the reason why Daniel Tyson Jones is going to be 3 years sober is because when he was 6 weeks sober, he was speaking to Mickey Moz after his first year sober, and then that gave him the inspiration. And then Mickey's stemmed from my story, and then Mickey has gone to Dan. Dan will inspire someone else. So the
ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was actually going to add to that at the start when, you know, Paddy talked about culture, and it's like there's a very large concentration of people who have decided to go sober here. When I say very large, like, you know, I don't often find that in any other circles like this where, you know, people have decided to fully commit to being sober. And I think it's a credit to you and your leadership that's, you know, the effect that you've had on people, which has then had a further effect on other people outside of that. Like, I think sometimes we actually don't get to hear about the impact that our decision has made on the second, third, and fourth tier interactions.
What I love, Trav, is early on it was about you and your story and the name Reborn, and now, respectfully, there's a lot of people that join this gym that don't know who you are or what your story is. And they're inspired by, like you mentioned, the ripple effect.
Exactly.
Like that's the best. That means the brand Reborn is bigger than Travis Young. And it's gone way past that. And you've stepped back from being on classes, and there's like we'll be up at the kids' footy or Oz tag or something, and I'll be chatting to someone. You'll be like, Patty, who's that? And I'm like, it's a member of the gym. And you're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, they've been here for 3 years. But I like that it's not you. Like you don't need to be the face anymore, but the story is still continuing.
They continue on. There's hundreds of Reborn stories. That's my favorite part. Is like it started off with just my story, but now that one story is developed into hundreds of stories. That's like one of the things I'm most proud of.
It's mad. All right, now I want to kind of flip this podcast into helping people that might be going through something similar to what you did or thinking about it. What is a common misconception of addiction that people don't truly understand.
People think that they can just stop, and it's almost like it's a bit contradicting, but like it's not as easy as just stop, and it's not as easy as like you've got the choice, you got a decision to make. Like at the end of the day, like yes, that's what it comes down to.
Because I'm very black and white.
Yeah.
And I share that thought of
Yeah.
like, okay, if something's bad for you, just stop it.
And I honestly, I 100%, like I swing with this one, but I 100% understand that as well. But it's not that easy. Like it's like you genuinely think and feel that you're going to die if you don't do X, Y, Z, or whatever it is that you want to do. So it's not as easy as just stop. And what a lot of people don't understand about as addicts is that they don't understand the carnage that they're hurting around them. They only see and feel the pain that they're giving to themselves, and it's very selfish. And it's one of the things that frustrates me the most about myself and looking back at my past was how naive I was to the amount of pain I caused everyone around me. Those two things of like people just not understanding, like it's not as easy as just stop, and like they don't understand that there's most of the time there's a lot of trauma that they've got to go through, they've got to process and see a counselor about, and then to be able to stop. But yeah, I think the biggest misconception is like they actually genuinely know that they're hurting others. They don't. They really don't. They like when I was an addict. Brother, I promise you, I didn't think I was hurting anyone but myself. And I say that, and it makes me cringe. It's so horrible, but that's the reality of it. You do not see outside of your own mind.
What advice would you give to someone out there right now who is hiding their struggles?
Oh, that's the worst part.
The loneliness and the not speaking about it.
It's putting the mask on. It's pretending to be something that you're not.
Because there's a lot of people out there doing that right now.
And generally, the people that are like the upbeat, like me, that are they're pretending to be the happiest. They're the ones that are actually going through.
The Robin Williams, right?
Yeah. Yes. Perfect. Well done.
Thanks.
Now, what I would say to them is like,
He was my example
it's
too.
very hard. It's very hard, Paddy, because like we've talked about our unique relationship often, but it's finding someone like yourself for me that I can genuinely have that conversation with right at the start. And this is actually a fun fact about Pat and I. Me and Pat weren't mates, right? We weren't mates.
We played footy together, but we weren't close.
For 2 years, 1 year.
Yep,
2 years we played footy together. See, that explains how much we didn't.
One bad Trav, one good Trav.
Okay, well, the pre 1 year bad Trav, right? We generally weren't mates. But then when I got back from rehab, you came and you did our first challenge at the New Quara Road Reborn. You were the first person I ever told my story to. Weird. Why we're sitting here. And why did I do that? I have no idea. But what I'm getting to is find someone that you can talk to. I'm so fortunate now that I've got Pat that I can speak to. I've got Wags that I can speak to. I've got New that I can speak to. Like the three boys in this room, I've been completely open and honest with, my most vulnerable. But that is because I've found someone early on that I could talk to. And as you talk, it becomes more and more comfortable. But my advice would be, find someone that you can talk to. But it's a hard one though.
That's an interesting piece of advice, Travi, and I like fully support it. We actually had a development session down at the Sharks last night with the SG Ball Boys and under 19s, and a lot of this stuff came up.
Really?
A lot of this stuff came up about feeling like they have to put masks on, feeling pressure to perform.
There's a lot of pride there.
A lot of pride. These are young 17, 18, 19-year-old guys, Polynesian families feeling like they have to, do their family name proud. Even like young Aussie kids who haven't had great upbringings, potentially like growing up in domestic violence households and all that sort of stuff. And it's like you could see the fear on their faces last night of the feeling like, fuck, I might actually have to tell someone in this room what I've been through or what I'm going through, and like how uncomfortable it was for them thinking about having those conversations, but not realizing the power and the how empowered they could become by actually opening up and talking.
Yeah.
A line I love that I got told by Dean Hallertau, what a gorgeous human. And I don't even know what the context was, but the line has stuck with me, and I remember where he was when he told me is a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Like dumping your problem, not dumping, speaking to someone about your problem, even if they do nothing about it. weight lifts off your shoulders.
You'll hear this if you go back and listen to my first story, but the reason why I believe I had so much success in rehab was the first ever process group that I went to. You sat down in these big circles, exactly like you see in the movies. Hi, I'm Travis, I'm an addict. And then what happened was this guy next to me started telling his story. And he read out about 3 or 4 pages, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is hectic! This is like one hell of this could be a movie. Like it's great. Like this guy's been so vulnerable." He stopped speaking, and then everyone sat, and then the counselor said, "Does anyone else want to share their story?" I was like, "Oh, fuck it,
Okay, I'm on. Let's go.
first day, let's do this." And I just went bang, 45 minutes straight, crying, telling all these people that are things that I'd never even verbally said out loud, let alone to 16 strangers on the other side of the world, and I instantly felt 100 kilos lighter just from sharing that story. And I just went, oh, wow, if I can do this now, and I can share this story and it makes this impact. Imagine if I just keep giving this every single day where I can take myself over the next 28 days. And that was a big like shining moment for me. It was like, all right, make yourself vulnerable, be open, be honest, and then show accountability towards what you've gone through. And then these things will start working out themselves. But if you don't have rehab like I did, find someone like a Paddy, so to speak.
Tell me, what would you say to someone who feels like they're too far gone?
I was as far as you can get. Like I was going to commit suicide. There was 2 options. I was either going to commit suicide and that was it, or I was going to have a crack and make a change for it. So no matter how far you think you're gone, there is always a way to make it back. And it might not happen overnight, which everyone thinks that it happens in like 2-3 months. Like that first 3 months I came back was horrible. But it's just one day at a time.
Problems are here.
They were just waiting for me, waiting for me. All the debt that was waiting for me, all the problems, all the drama that I caused, waiting for me. All the issues that I had caused previously, they were just here waiting. But it's just one day at a time. And there's no moment, there's no time where like, we made it. It's just one day at a time. Eventually you look back and go, shit, when did we get here? Like, when the fuck did we get here, boys?
Yeah.
Like 10
years is a long time.
Yeah.
Now, this is a question I've wanted to ask you for a while. I've noticed, and I quite like this, and I've respected this, that the celebrations of your milestones have been less and less and less. Early on, when it was like 1 year sober, 2 years sober, 3 years sober, it was massive. And it was like you were on top of rooftops telling the whole world. And now, like literally like 2 hours ago, you were like, we're doing a podcast. I've got a topic. Have you got anything? And I said, no, why? And you're like, I'm 10 years sober next week. And I was like, holy shit. Like that just crept up on me. I had no idea about it. You're not like, I feel like you're not having to celebrate it as much anymore.
It's life now. But in saying that, like 10 years will obviously be like, I'll be very, very, very proud when I hit it next week. But what it is for me now, this is just a part of my life. The semi-contradicting thing is that the only thing like I actually get really proud of is my sober date now. Like, when people celebrate their birthday, I don't get it. You're just born. I generally, yeah.
No, I get
You
that.
were just born, mate.
I hate it. I tell people the wrong date because I don't want them celebrating it.
You
actually hate birthdays.
I've changed
so
on
much.
Facebook.
On Gym Master, wrong date as anyways.
Funny.
But like that day, I'm genuinely proud of myself. But at the same time, I think I've matured a little bit. Like I don't need the ego boost. Like I think a lot of the times back then, like I wanted to, like people to tell me how great I was.
Can I share something from the outside looking in? Because I've obviously only been in this inner circle for, a little over 12 months. But back then...
Well, that's wild.
Yeah, right?
It was like 12 years.
But when I closed my gym and you offered me a role to work at Reborn...
And you brushed me.
Brushed you. And I think about like that, based off that question Patty just asked about the celebrations becoming less and less, I don't think I could have worked for Trav back then. Again, it was probably because of my perception without obviously actually knowing you. But I think your evolution as a leader, I think, is contributing to the less of a need to actually publicly celebrate something like that, because you know that how proud it makes you internally.
Yeah.
That's the satisfaction that your ego needs. And I think that's a huge testament to like the leadership that you have, because I like absolutely love working for you now. You know what I mean? Like I would like go to war for you, and I think
guilty.
that's,
I mean,
yeah.
Let's go.
We all know what we're
Nice.
talking about.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I've got a question because you mentioned obviously that the 10 years is going to be a big thing. I reckon the answer might surprise us here. What are you most proud of over the last 10 years?
Everything I haven't done. Everyone's like, "Oh, what did you do that was like amazing in the last 10 years?" I'm like, "Bro, the things that I haven't done. Like I haven't caused more drama. I haven't like I can hand on my heart, sit there and say like I know that I haven't been close to any of these things. I haven't put myself in these environment. Like we used to giggle about it when people used to say that I was still drinking and stuff like that and tell those stories. Like all the things
I was ready to fight him, by the way.
I know,
just so
I
you
know
know.
you would have. I know that Reborn has had its success and it's going to continue to have its success, and we've done a lot of great things together, and we're going to do great things. But the thing that I'm proud of is just like I'm not causing anyone pain. I'm not causing any problems for other people from silly decisions. Right? Like life's always going to have its pain and problems, but like I'm not causing them through drugs, alcohol, and gambling. That's what I'm the most proud of. And and my dad. Oh my God, how proud he is of me.
How
Like
cool was that?
seeing him at the Christmas party and like how proud, like he just like kept
Oh.
crying over and over again, like how proud he's like, those are the things. And he's not proud of the things. He's not sitting there going, Trav, I'm so proud of you. You've got an amazing Christmas party, or you've done so well in business. He's proud of my sobriety and the things that I've been able to do because of that. So yeah, the things that I'm the most proud of is the things I haven't done.
I'm proud of the impact that you've had on people. Myself, for example, me being able to work in a job I love with people I love and look after my family like that, shit like that. And there's a lot of me.
Yeah.
Like there's Breaky, there's Wags, there's Larissa, there's Bizza. Like there's so many people that through your journey, you've built up this company, and how many people that is feeding, for want of a better term, and then members underneath that. The impact you have had solely on this many people, and then the branches that come off that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm proud of you the most for.
Appreciate that, bro.
No, no worries. I love
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right, I've got one more question.
Hit me.
What would your life look like today if you weren't sober?
I'm either dead or in jail. No doubt. Probably the first one more
Yeah.
likely. Jail, I wouldn't be good in jail.
You wouldn't get caught either.
Not too fast. No, but that's it, bro. That's the reality of a drug addict more than anything else. But I would have been dead. Like I would have been dead, or I would have been in jail. And in jail, you may as well be dead. Like it's the harsh reality, and I knew that. That's going back to your first question you asked me about the hurt. I knew the decision was I can continue this hurt, and if I continue this hurt, I know that it only ends in death.
Like I can speak for both Paddy and myself when we say that we're glad you're not.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you're not dead.
Yeah.
I like you.
It would be as fun.
I love you.
Love you heaps.
What do you want your kids to remember you by?
I thought you might ask me this question, Paddy, but I wasn't prepared.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I want my kids to remember me that I was a man of my word. If I said I was going to do something, I did it. Like I am the person that leads with their actions, not with their words, and that I at all times show accountability, because I will be wrong. I'll probably be wrong 3 or 4 times by the end of this day, but to show accountability towards those things so I can show them that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to, fuck up life here and there. Just get back on that horse and keep going. And I want them to be proud of who their dad is.
You're a great father, Travis.
Almost got me.
Well
I'm
done.
being really tough right now. Normally I would cry, but I'm going to be brave. But I appreciate you boys. I really wanted to have you on this D-Wags because over vanilla life over here, you can't really relate to anything I'm talking about. I knew there's a couple times where I was saying stuff and you're like, and I could see you nod and you're like, yeah, and I could see you nodding over there too, New Breezy.
The streets remember D-Wags.
Yeah. Boys, I really appreciate you, and like it's I'm very proud of being 10 years sober. But I'm very proud of like what we've been able to achieve together in the last 9.5 years, and like what you've done in like when you said 12 months, that's fucking wild, because I feel like you've been along for this ride for just as long. And I think if you had, like you said, if you had to come and work for us 5 years ago, that we wouldn't be sitting here. And I'm really happy that we're all sitting where we are right now, and I appreciate you boys.
Congrats, Travis.
Let's go.
Well done.
Thank you, boys.